Now then, sports fans, welcome to Cherish Cars. And what we're doing today, well, it's the first day in ages it's actually been not raining, which is fantastic. But unfortunately, I've also woken up feeling really rotten. However, I've got to get some work done because the bootstrap banger is going for its MOT this week. I've already pushed it back twice. I don't want to push it back a third time. I've got an outstanding brake issue or potential brake issue on the rear of the Insignia. I want to change the sliders. If you've seen the video on that, then you'll know that's a bit of kind of preventative maintenance to stop the pads wearing out prematurely again. And I've still got the rest of the work to do on the Nissan Note, which I started the service. I kind of did the minor bits of the service, the oil filter and air filter and the oil as well. But I've got a bit of work left to do on the Nissan Note. So let's have a quick walk around and look at what we've got to do, and then I'm just going to get into it. So the Note is looking a little bit worse for wear. It's got a little bit more battle damage. I noticed this morning. The wife claims she knows nothing about it, but that is very fresh. You can see it's still flaking off, so that's happened very recently, which is really annoying because I think the Note's going to be the first car that I get rid of in order to free up a bit of space on the driveway again. The plan is the wife uses this mainly as her daily. We're going to get Doug the Bug finished and she'll use that, and then once the bootstrap banger's got a ticket on it, because this is now insured, so once it's got a ticket it's good to go. Obviously it needs taxing as well. Let's say goodbye to the Siggy, which I don't really want to do, to be honest. I do quite like this car. It just does everything I ever ask of it. But yeah, so for the bootstrap banger, you can see front wheels are still off. This brake hose here is shot, so I bought a new brake hose. You can see I've started to undo the bits for it. Just need to swap that over today. This lower bolt here was being a pain the other day when it was raining. Talking of rain, it's just started raining. Fantastic. It's meant to not rain today. You can see already that bits are rusting up that I've already swapped over, so I will give that a bit of a clean off. But yeah, other than that, I think there's this, and then the other issue is the driver's side door doesn't open from the outside, and apparently these lock cylinders are a really common problem. So I've got new lock cylinders to swap over, but I'll only do that side, so the other side's okay. I'm hoping I can swap the internals over so it'll still open with the normal key. Doug, I've done nothing with recently, which is a bit lazy. I've done a lot of work that I haven't updated yet, so I don't want to show too much, but you might get little glimpses of things that have changed. The reflections do me a bit of a favour there because I don't want too many spoilers. So yeah, I've got a bit of footage on Doug that I'll get uploaded. I have been doing quite a lot of work, and to be fair, not that far away from throwing it all back together, but there is a bit of a problem that I noticed. It was smoking a little bit, and I noticed when I looked underneath the bonnet that the coolant level's really low, so I wonder what's happening there. Mechanically sound, we shall see. So yeah, so there might be a bit of work to do on Doug. But yeah, so bootstrap banger not far off a ticket, I don't think. Doug, bit more work to do. This has got the rear brakes, so all I'm going to do, I've got a kind of caliper kit, or like not a rebuild kit, but new slides. So I've got new slides from Big Red. I used these as a supplier when I rebuilt the calipers before. They seem to stock a really good range of bits and pieces. So I'll swap the slide pins over in the caliper. Probably it's my first job today because that's my daily, so I want to make sure it's up and running. Get this new brake hose on, get the lock cylinders swapped over, and if I get time, and I'm not sure I will, but if I get time, I will pop the bonnet on Note face, and I will get the rocker cover off, check the timing chain, stick the new gasket cover on, and swap the plugs over. Do the cabin filter, and that is Note face finished. And I've just seen another bloody dent. What the hell? I don't know how well you can see that. I don't know if the camera's going to pick that up or not, but there you go. There's a massive, that wasn't there. Massive dent there as well. Brilliant. Why does that happen when you're just getting ready to sell a car? I've got this bloody damage down there. I've got that dent there. I already had a dent to take care of there, a bit of scuffing along there, and a bit of kind of paint transfer there, and a discoloured cover there. Oh, jeez, crazy. The jobs are mounting up quicker than I can get them cleared. Anyway, without further ado, I'm going to move this out of the way. So I've got proper access here, get it up, check these rear wheels are spinning properly and they're not banding already, and then get those sliders swapped over, the slide pins swapped over. throw it all back together, put it back on the deck, and that's the rear brakes nipped for this Siggy, and then I can get on with the bootstrap banger. So we're looking at the side that's got this kind of premature wear issue, and definitely is some binding. I mean, it's not horrendous, but it's not spinning freely either. With the wheel on, it was spinning a lot easier by hand, but you can definitely tell that for whatever reason the pads aren't disengaging properly, and so it could be that the piston is compressing and not rebounding properly. That could be the fluid is too full, so I'll go and check that in a second. But it's most likely this issue with the slide pins, so I'm going to pull them off and have a look at them first, and then we'll see where we go from that. Okay, so on closer inspection, the slide pins move absolutely fine. They're rebounding fine, there's no issue with that. This top brake disc here, although that's kind of detached, that's not great. This moves in and out okay. I can't really do it one-handed, but that's moving in and out okay. This one's a bit more seized, so I think it might actually be an issue with the brake hardware itself. So you see this kind of metal shim on the inside. Let me point with something a bit more accurate. This kind of metal shim on the inside here sits underneath. You can see around the back of the actual brake pad itself. This actually sits inside the brake pad carrier assembly, and that's what the pads slide up and down on, or that's what they should slide up and down on. This side just seems to be a bit bound up, so I think I'll take the pads off, give that all a clean and make sure it's all seated properly. I'll swap over the pins as well, and hopefully between the two different things that'll sort it out. But I don't think it is the pins, because as I say, they're moving absolutely fine. But I will swap them over anyway because I've got the rebuild kit. So yes, I suspect it's the hardware. If you get more expensive pads, so like your Brembos, stuff like that, you often get the hardware included with. I think with these cheap ones you have to buy them separate, and they're about 30 quid. So if I need them I'll get them, but if I don't need them because I can clean them up, then I'll reuse these ones. We'll see how we get on. All back together, and slightly unsatisfactory. I mean, I'll show you now the two slide pins that have come out and I've replaced. There's no wear on them. I've just wiped the grease off them. They're fine, so I don't think it is the slide pins. I think it's the brake hardware, and although it's back on and it is spinning, it's probably spinning a little bit freer, but not a lot. I've checked the handbrake and I've checked everything's working okay, and I've also checked the fluid level, actually slightly low on fluid, so it's definitely not over full. So I think by process of elimination it's the brake hardware, as in the kind of metal inserts. You can see they've had a really good clean up. You can see that one's silver now, but I just don't think it's allowing the pads to slide back and forth properly. I mean, everything else is absolutely fine on here, but yeah, it's just a bit annoying, so that's a bit dissatisfactory. However, I'm going to tidy up, have a brew. I still feel like crap, but I'm going to get the last few bits done on the bootstrap banger and call it a day for today. More than enough fun for one day, to be honest. Probably going back to bed soon. So not ideal. Probably get myself some new hardware for these. I mean, I'll keep an eye on them, see how they're getting on. They might bed in a little bit more, but if they don't, I'll just take them apart and put that swap those shims around. Let's get on to the last couple of jobs. Next job is to swap this brake hose over. I've got the new one here. The top part is okay, this side here. This bottom bit down here, with my thumb in the way, doesn't really seem to want to undo. I think I've got that right. I think that's the top part up there. This is a brake union up at the top. That's basically loose now, that's fine. So that'll undo. It'll pull out from underneath this kind of point here and then do back up. There's a mounting point there, which again is loose. I've already kind of loosened that off. But this one down here is being a bit stubborn. So we're just going to have a little fight with this, get it off. I think the whole thing will unscrew and pull out from underneath here. And I think the whole unit comes out. I don't think this is a separate part. What I don't want to do is shear anything off in here, because that will be a real nose. So wish me luck, people. I'm going to get the old bulldog on a go and see what I can do with it. Okay, that's now come a bit looser. You can see as I've undone it, I've been twisting the pipe up, so I need to unconnect all of this to take the tension off that so I can get it undone, and then reverse it, get it back in, do valve jobs are good. Put a drip tray underneath just to catch all the brake fluid that's going to come out. Brake fluid is absolutely minging. It will destroy kind of paint and stuff like that, so do make sure you dispose of it properly. And what I'll do is I will take the opportunity to renew the brake fluid on this bad boy. I'm not going to change the discs. They're okay. There is a lip on that. I mean, there's probably a mil lip, but actually the disc itself is fine. The pads are okay. They'll need doing, but not just yet. They don't need doing in time for the test. So yeah, so get this done, get the door cylinder lock done, have a final walk around, check for anything else. I don't know if I'll get a chance to have a look at the thermostat today. I might have a go at that if I get time, but that just depends how quickly these two jobs go. So I'm going to get on with this. It's going to be slightly messy. I'll try not to get any on myself, and as I say, just environmentally and socially, just make sure you've got something to catch the brake fluid in and you dispose of it properly. Right, let's get on with this. Another little job done. Have to say this flexi hose doesn't feel like it fits super great, but it's on the clip at the top here, fought me to get out. So the way I got around that was put a cable tie inside this little notch just here and did it up with one end of the cable tie just on an adjustable wrench, just on that bit. And then I just basically used this as a bit of a slide hammer and just kind of gave it a good firm tug out, and that took that straight out. So that was a good little tip. The union is done up there with the brake pipe. That's all fine, that's all done. Just need to nip this up, and that bottom one there's fine, that's all done. I'll undo the bleed valve now, bleed through the brakes. As I say, I'm going to top up and change the oil, so not the oil, the brake fluid, so that'll take a bit of time. But yeah, that's one more job done, just the lock cylinder, and we're MOT ready, I think, give or take. I'll have another run through the car, but pretty happy with that. Good stuff. Let's get motoring. So final job for today, I think, is swap this door lock cylinder over and see if that sorts out the problem with the car not opening from outside on the driver's side. So the panel needs to come off. I'll need to go and find a hook. Actually, I thought I'd get away with just a few tools, but I'm going to need to get the circlip off the inside of that so I can pull that off. But yeah, it should be relatively straightforward. I've had access into this before and had a look. Yeah, now I've said that, I'm sure this will be an absolute epic, and I'll be doing it in the dark. Let's get into it. I've tried to be a bit clever here. What I've done is I've taken the rear off the, like the arm, the control arm that actually moves the lever. I've taken one off the left hand barrel for the spare kit I've got, just by taking a little circlip off and then lifting it off. So you can see on this one that's fully assembled, little circlip just holds the plastic tab on, and I've swapped it onto the original barrel. Now I've had a little look at both of them, and it doesn't look like there's any difference in the mechanism between the light grey and the dark grey or the black one. This one is the correct one for the driver's side, so if this doesn't work, I've still got a unit that I can fit on the driver's side for the MOT. But the benefit of doing this and swapping this onto the original part is the actual barrel itself is coded to the key, or is, you know, it matches the key I've got for the car, whereas these two have got a new key. Now this would mean I had to have two keys for the car, but I'd only have one key for the ignition. It's not, you know, that's not necessarily a bad thing, but I'd rather have just the one key that fits all the locks and get another key cut for the car. So hopefully this will work. If it doesn't work, I've not wasted much time. I've left this one intact so I can just drop it straight in, and that'll get me through for the ignition. But hopefully this will work. And all it was just this little circlip here. Undo that, lift it off, and carefully put the new arm down on and refit the circlip. Now I've used the original circlip on the original barrel just in case the tolerances are at all different. And then once I'm done, if this does work, I'll fit the old kind of arm onto this barrel with the circlip for this barrel, just so that I've got those parts together in case I ever need them for the other side. Yeah, that makes sense to me. Hopefully it makes sense to you. Let's get it fitted and see if it works. Right then, so the door lock barrel is back in and cinched up and all that good stuff. It's fine, but it still wasn't working. So I've taken apart the actual door lock mechanism itself. It's quite interesting. So let's see if I can do this one-handed. Essentially what happens is, in the unlock position, the external door handle, when you pull on it, will unlock. Happy days, that makes sense. If you lock it, so that's, oh, I can't do it now, oh, that's blocking it. So if you lock it by turning the cylinder, and that flicks that round. What that does is it pushes this over here, and it means that if you pull the handle outside, it doesn't unlock it. If you pull the internal handle, it still does unlock it. So watch this. So there you go. So the internal handle will unlock it, but the external one won't. Now, if it's stuck in this position, so it's down in this little dogleg position, you can't then unlock it from outside. You see? It just gets stuck, and I think that's what's happening. I think it's stuck, and because it's in that position, the external handle won't unlock it. But if it's in this position and you go to unlock it, it will, because it will just slide across. See that? And now it'll unlock. So what I need to do is find out what's causing the problem where this pin isn't sitting in the lock position. It's not sitting like that. So why is it not sitting like that? It wants to be sitting there, and I wonder if there's some kind of return spring or something like that that's missing inside. So I'm having a little play with it, and I'll see if I can figure it through. If not, I'm going to need a new door lock assembly. So I'll have a bit of a play, and if not, I'll get that ordered. Anyway, I'm having a good fettle here, quite enjoying myself. Hopefully that made some sense. I know what I mean. Hopefully I made that clear enough for you and you're following along. I've probably bored you to tears now, so I'll wrap this video up quite soon. Right, I had a little reach round inside the door, and look what I found. I found half a spring. It's only half a spring, mind. It's snapped off. So I think there's some kind of return spring off the top of this lock that's gone missing, and I reckon I can probably find something that'll do that'll replicate that. The easiest way of fixing this would just be to buy a new lock mechanism, but Christ, that's so annoying if it's only this little spring. So I reckon I figured out what the problem is now. The question is, can I fix it while working full time in the next few days in time for the MOT, which I think is on Thursday? We shall see. Okay, so I fixed it in terms of I can shut it and I can open it from the outside. I can also shut it and open it from the inside. What I can't do is lock it and then open it from the outside. Now I think that's an MOT pass. I think the door just needs to open from the inside and the outside. I don't think it needs to be lockable. So I'm going to stick some gaffer tape over that to stop it being locked or unlocked. I'm going to move all my valuables out of the car tonight, and that is how this car is going to stay until I can figure out what the fix is. If I don't get it fixed in time for the MOT, then that I think is still going to be a pass. So that is as good as that's going to be for now. But I reckon that is the bootstrap banger nipped and ready for its MOT. What I need to do now is just get the wheels back on it and just make sure that everything still works. In fact, I tell a lie, I need to bleed the brakes yet. So that's one more job I need to do tonight. Then get the wheels on and get it all buttoned up, ready for its test. I'll get it off the jack stands as well. Cool, so I'm just going to finish those brakes now, but I think I'll end the video there. Gleaming. So yeah, that'll do. Reasonably productive day, to be fair. I've had a good go at the brakes on the Insignia. Slightly frustrating that they've not been quite finished off either. I think the brake hardware is going to need changing, but I know what the problem is now. I've definitely isolated what the issue is. I'll see if they bed in and sort themselves out. Give it a week or so, and if they don't, then I know exactly what I've got to do, and that's, you know, it's less than 30 quid to fix that problem. That's fine. Good day on the bootstrap banger. Again, haven't quite fixed the problem, but I know what it is, so I've isolated what the issue is. It's either going to be a case of getting a new spring and figuring out how that goes together, or it's going to be a new lock assembly. But either way, that's a really quick fix and it won't cost a load of money. I remember when I did the CV boots on the car, but I'm a bit worried I might have done something to the drive shaft, so I will need to test drive the car. That could still trip me up, to be fair, but you know, what might I have done? I might have pulled them out of the gearbox, you know, pulled the other end of the drive shaft out, but as long as it's gone back in, I don't see how that's a problem. And they are back in because they're both back on their axle kind of hubs, not hubs, the lower arm carrier. They're both like properly relocated, track rod ends are on it, etc. It will need tracking actually. I need to book it in for tracking. So what I'll do, if it drives okay to the tracking, and again you're allowed to do that, you can drive it to a garage for repairs before an MOT, that's absolutely fine. So it's booked in for tracking, that's legitimate. I can drive it to the garage, I can drive it back without an MOT on it, that's fine. I've checked, I'll be insured, I'm absolutely covered, that's fine. I can't stop off and do my shopping on the way or drop the kids off at school on the way, but I can do that. So I'll do that, I'll get the tracking booked in and sorted. There's a good place local to me that will do it for 40 quid or so, so that's fine. Plume tyres, that's who I tend to use, they're good. And if there's a problem with it, I might just get them to look at it and tell me what they think, and maybe even source it for me, just to stop messing about with it. Then MOT on Thursday morning, that's with Halfords. And yeah, after that I can tax the car, and well, provided it passes, I can tax it and start using it. Still got plenty of cosmetic stuff to do on the bootstrap banger. But yeah, so once that's done and dusted and cleared, I can worry about the cosmetic time, worry about the cosmetic work in slower time and get on with Doug the Bug. And then once Doug is done, I'm then going to need to get rid of a car. And as I saw earlier, the Note is going to need a bit of cosmetic work, so it might end up being the Insignia goes first. I might just list them both and see which one sells first, to be fair. Right, that's me, that's another video. Thanks very much for watching. Hope that was okay, not too boring. I lost myself a little bit with the lock, but I hope you followed along and that was quite useful. And yeah, thanks for watching, and see you on the next one. Bye bye.